Hello and welcome. Today I'll be showing you how to make a bouquet out of 100 roses. Usually the method that people use to make big bouquets like this is the spiral method. And in a way you kind of put your roses down in a kind of angle, which later then creates a spiral with the stems. This method is very, very difficult. Later on, when you have too many roses, your hands become tired and it just does not work too well, especially for this amount of roses. So I will be showing you a method that is much easier and much better for you to use and won't put that much of a strain on your arms. Before you begin, ensure that you clean off your roses of any thorns and watch specifically for any thorns on any leaves. As you can see here, ensure that you clean your roses before you begin working and wear gloves. As you can see here, I'm wearing gloves. This is to protect my hands from any sneaky thorns that are found on the roses' leaves. Specifically this type, these white Vendella roses, have these thorns on their leaves that are almost unnoticeable. So make sure you wear gloves and protect your hands. You will need elastic for my method. You'll need to cut it into smaller pieces, and you will basically be using these to create your bouquet, just tying them and making a little loop with the elastic, as you can see here. This is what's going to help you create the bouquet and cause less strain on your hands. I'm going to begin by using the spiral method. As you can see here, I'm just putting my roses on an angle. You can use any color roses you'd like. For this specific order, I was asked to use different shades of pink and white, so I'm going to be using these colors. Of course, it's up to you. So just continuing to do this, placing your roses on an angle, creating a spiral with the stems. This is your base for the big bouquet. This is what later helps you create the bigger bouquet, and this allows you to have a less strain on your hands since we will be using the elastics later on. Continue using the spiral method, mixing your roses together, using different colors and variations as you like. At the point that you begin to feel like it's too much for you to hold, you can start using your elastics that we cut earlier. You're simply going to take it, loop it through one stem, and then loop it around and then back through another stem just to make sure that you secure it. And after that, I'll just be putting my roses into the bouquet like this. So starting off with the spiral method, then tying it with an elastic, and then simply putting the roses into the elastic band. At this point, you don't need to use the spiral method anymore. Just place them in wherever you'd like, depending on your color preference or anything like that. Make sure you're putting in your roses on a diagonal, but if you have any gaps, you can put your roses down straight. It doesn't really matter where you place your roses, just make sure you place them in on a diagonal. This is what later helps it have volume and have shape. So place your roses in on a diagonal and fill in any gaps as you go along the way. once you've completed your bouquet with the amount of roses you'd like, or if you start to feel that your elastic is becoming too tight, you can always add another elastic. So doing the same thing, putting it through one stem, looping it around, and then looping it through that same stem to secure it. Then you're going to pick up your bouquet and begin to fix anything that's sticking out, level all your roses together and create the shape that you'd like. So now we're going to wrap our bouquet. You're going to need some tissue paper, some cellophane, and some mesh, colors of your choice. We're going to cut the mesh to the size of our bouquet. For the mesh, you're going to need to curl the edges and then staple them together. So as you can see here, I'm curling it and stapling. I am now going to take my bouquet and place it onto the mesh, and I'm going to wrap it and attach the two ends together like this. Stapling it in areas just to make sure that it's fully secure and tight around the bouquet. The mesh is important in order to support the roses and to ensure that they don't fall apart or they don't wobble around. Now we are going to cut our cellophane. Measure it to the desired length and cut it. We're going to wrap it so that the top remains open. Once you've measured the length of the cellophane and ensure that it fits, you are then going to take your tissue and place it on. So once you've put your tissue and your cellophane on and under the bouquet, you are then going to take some ribbon, cut it to your desired length just to make sure to wrap the stems together, and then you will begin taping your wrapped tissue and cellophane together. And the final touch will be the ribbon, the big bow. So make a bow and then attach it to your bouquet, and then you're done. A bouquet like this is perfect for any occasion, such as birthdays or any baby shower, bridal shower, just as a simple gift.